Sundance, all the actors and filmmakers we talked with agree on one thing. It all starts with the script.
I can tell that I like a script if I start reading it aloud. Especially if it
Where
gets
you're like,
me
I
up on
can't
my
wait
feet.
to say these lines.
Yeah, it's kind of true.
That's when I know
Right.
it's something I have to do, and I'm like, I start being like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah, you start
scene?
trying it different
Yeah.
ways. Yeah.
Because I don't get that feeling very often. It's
No.
really rare.
No.
And I've done movies where I haven't had that feeling, and usually it's
Yeah.
a disaster.
Yeah. I'll start reading something seated, sometimes even laying down. But if it's good, I'm very quickly like pacing around up on my feet with it. And if I don't do that, then it's not a good sign.
The thing I like the most in a script is non-neediness, where the script is clearly not in any kind of hurry to ingratiate itself with the audience. I don't like the calculated, fuck you audience, so we don't need you. I just like the we are what we are, come along or not. Comedies like Foot Fist Way or Sideways, or just movies that are not in a rush, that aren't desperate to we gotta win things over. So the fact that Big Fan really moves at its own pace and doesn't judge its characters and doesn't try to do that kind of postmodern snarkiness in looking at these types. And so there's a lot of screenwriters, and I'm guilty of this too as a comedian, that they'll write something or talk about something like this, but there's this implied, and in talking about this, I'm clearly better than this person. That's why I'm doing this. I'm pointing at something that I think is lesser than me. And this movie, and especially The Wrestler, absolutely didn't do that at all. Just meets them on the same level and then lets them move around. It's rare when you see that in a script, and I really like that.
My producing partner, Beau Marie St. Clair, said, read this. Excuse me. I read it, and I threw it under the bed. It was great. It was wonderful. But I didn't want to go there grieving for a son. I have a number of sons, great sons, but one had a terrible accident. I almost lost him one winter's night in the canyons of Malibu. And I just didn't want to go there. So, as I said, I threw it under the bed, but she was persistent and said, read it. I read it again with more focus, attention, and said, let's do it. I haven't done a piece like this. And I met with Shauna Festi and Lynette, who's a wonderful producer. And the two women were very passionate, and I said, I'm in. Let's do it.
I guess there's a woman named Mary Viola, and Mary she had a pile of scripts, and she's from Brooklyn. So she saw one that said Brooklyn's Finest, so naturally she said, I'll read that one first. And it turns out to be a great script. She thought of me, I guess probably from training day. Basil sent it to me. I read it that night, and I thought, this is a good story, a good solid story, with a strong perspective. But I wanted to talk to the writer first to make sure he really understood what he was writing. And I spoke to Michael Martin, and he seemed to have a clear handle on what he was writing about. And I took it from there. I started calling actors, Wesley, Don, Ethan, Richard, and they all agreed to make the film.